Luckily we're gonna be finished up right now with a true classic, and I don't mean that in any type of degrading way. This really is a classic Japanese movie, House or Hausu in its Japanese. Pretty simple plot, all things considered, though it certainly doesn't feel that way. Seven girls go to a country home, and one of the girls in the group has an aunt who lives there, and then bizarre things start happening to the group of girls at that home. It's it's a difficult movie to talk about because this is just me. I don't possess the vocabulary necessary to describe how unique this experience is. I know that some people, and for all I know, Chucky might be one of them. I know for some people maybe it's just a bit too out there, but this is probably one of the wildest movies I've ever seen in my life, and I haven't seen anything that comes close to being as it's not even necessarily psychedelic. It's just a bizarre, sometimes over the top, sometimes slapstick. It's just a very unique movie.
Hmm. Well, I mean, obviously I've heard about this movie for quite a long time, and I've just never really sat down, never watched it until we decided to talk about this one for the show. Now, the funny thing about it is, I never even really bothered to watch any clips or even the trailer or anything about this before I watched it. All I can remember ever seeing is some of the posters for it, and just maybe just some very vague things that people may have said about it. To be honest, I really don't remember seeing or hearing much about what's actually in the movie. So I went into this movie kind of thinking, okay, this is going to be like all these other movies that we get, like The Grudge and The Ring, and I was expecting like this like dark type horror movie where just a lot of crazy shit's happening. Or if you've ever seen that Darren Gray music video for their song Obscure, it would be I was possibly expecting something like that.
I just want to say one quick thing before you go any further. If I could have seen your facial expressions for watching this movie, I probably would have had a pretty okay time.
Yeah, and it didn't take long for me. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Even just towards the start, there's this scene where this woman puts was it a scarf or a shawl or whatever you want to call it around this girl, and she dramatically drops it as she runs off, and they had to like do this sort of not split screen but this secondary screen showing her dropping it, and it was just so weird. And then obviously throughout the movie we see just so many different ways in which the movie is just filmed, like the director's on, I don't know, he's tripping balls or something. Yeah, so I didn't expect it to be so zany and offbeat. Like, I was expecting something more dark and trying to be, like, really scary type thing. I didn't know it was going to be, like, a comedy type element to it. So, just very, very weird. Very weird.
Out of interest, did you have a favorite girl? I always liked Kung Fu myself.
Maybe. I mean, I got a kick out of her just randomly kicking things. Yeah, the thing is, I don't even know how I'm going to rate this thing, because I wouldn't say I necessarily enjoyed it, but I also wouldn't say I disliked it either. It's just, I'd probably have to watch it again, to be honest, and see what I feel about it the second time, but yeah, for now I'm just lost with what to really think about it.
Out of interest, have you seen many other movies that sort of remind you of this one?
Not really. I know that, and it sounds like you had a somewhat decent time with this one, which is kind of surprising to me, because I know in the past we've reviewed some really, like, just silly movies, or movies where the humor's just so out there that you don't tend to like them. So, like The Greasy Strangler, what was that, a week or two ago? I mean, it's so weird. Weird in a different way, but it's still, both of these movies are kind of really out there.
Comparing the Greasy Strangler to Horseshoe is like a punch in the gut.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they're both very unconventional type movies. That's more what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying they're exactly the same, but
yeah. To be entirely honest, I'm not sure why I actually enjoy this one as much as I do. I think a big part of it is really the creativity that went into making it. Like I said, I can't really describe exactly how interesting, like, this animation in the movie. There's a flashback sequence that makes it look like a silent movie, and the girl's like commenting on it like it's just really bizarre stuff that I've never seen anywhere. And I think it makes the experience watching this, even if you didn't like the movie, I think it's a movie that you're probably not going to forget. And sometimes there are scenes that are a bit too goofy, but sometimes when scenes are too goofy and it just keeps going, like the piano scene, I mean, how can you not have a fun time? Like, that piano scene's always been probably one of my favorite scenes of a 70s horror movie, just because it's just so bizarre. The lighting, I mean, everything about it is just like, what am I watching right now? It's just a wonderful time.
I must say I enjoyed the cat in the movie. Just the cat just constantly being featured throughout the movie.
Out of interest, did you know that witch cats are the only ones who can open doors? Or is it closed doors? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing on that side of the world or not, but I've never heard that.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, no, I enjoyed seeing that little kitty cat.
I have to say what I enjoyed. This now, like I said, I've seen this movie before, but it's been quite some time, and I actually had forgotten that there was nudity in this movie, and it pops up toward the end. And I'm not saying it's significant or anything, but I mean, there's a bunch of decently attractive, Asian women, and this, like, for most of the movie, you sort of get nothing, although you do get Kang Fu, who is pretty much standing like bikini bottoms most of the movie. That's what it looked like to me anyway. Which I had no complaints about. But then we also get a little surprise nudity from, I think it was the prof character, the one with glasses, toward the end. So I mean, I found that a nice surprise, and it didn't really impact the movie, but just one of those things that, oh hey, that's nice to see.
I guess the only other point that I had down here was that I didn't I like the music in the movie, but not necessarily the songs that get played, but just like the background music. Even though it was quite repetitive, it reminded me a lot of like some older video games that I would play and things like that.
One thing that was interesting to me was the ending of this movie. It seemed to me it was a bit more, for most of us, like a bit more somber, a bit more serious, and it seemed to take forever. But it's so fun because they had that music in the background, and then of course toward the end, oh, they're sleeping, but when they get hungry, they'll wake up. Just, well, like you said, it's just a zany, offbeat movie, which is, again, it's a movie that I think unless you see it, you won't know just how strange the movie actually is. And in my opinion, that's a positive. But like I said, I know that many people. Well, I wouldn't say many, but I do know there are people out there who think this just is a bit much. To be fair, if this movie was American, I probably wouldn't have liked it nearly as much. And I can't even say exactly why that is. It's just a feeling I have. This movie is an experience, and this is a movie I really enjoyed. I enjoyed it the first time I saw it, and I enjoyed it this time, which is a bit of a surprise because, like Chucky said, I usually don't go out of my way to enjoy like goofy comedy horror, but this one really worked for some reason. Again, I'm going to give this one an 8.5, and I'm going to round it down to an 8 out of 10. I think it's a very solid movie, and if you've not seen any classic Japanese horror, I'd highly recommend giving this one a watch.
Well, because I struggle to really think of what to rate this one, I think I'm just going to have to give it somewhere in the middle of maybe like an average type rating of a 6. I can see myself potentially watching it again, and yeah, we'll see if I enjoy it more the second time around. Like I said, I didn't really enjoy it or dislike it. I just, it's a weird movie, and I don't really know how how much I actually liked it. So it's just that unusual.
Yeah, when a movie can leave you that speechless, you know it's a 10 out of 10.
Well, you didn't give it a 10.
Yeah. Well, I know.